Selamat pagi semuanya. Ketemu lagi di F-Talk setiap Sabtu setelah kemarin yang terakhir tanggal 10 Desember kalau nggak salah. Pagi ini kita balik lagi untuk belajar seputar bahasa Inggris karena kayaknya untuk beberapa waktu ke depan kita akan fokus untuk ngebahas materi-materi yang ada di bahasa Inggris, dan terutama kalau misalnya teman-teman tahu sesuai dengan topik kita pagi hari ini kita akan bahas seputar meningkatkan writing skills-nya kalian nih. Nah, sebelum itu saya mau mengucapkan terima kasih dulu untuk kalian semua yang sudah menyempatkan daftar dan sudah menyempatkan hadir juga pagi hari ini weekend jam 10 pagi. Tadi juga udah banyak banget yang datang sebelum jam 10 dan kali ini kalian sudah masuk ke dalam Zoom, ataupun untuk kalian yang juga lagi nonton di YouTube, kami ucapkan selamat datang. Tapi sebelum itu seperti biasa akan ada beberapa hal dulu yang perlu aku sampaikan ketika acara ini berlangsung. Nah, biar kegiatannya lebih interaktif lagi, ini kalau misalnya teman-teman yang lagi nonton di Zoom boleh banget menyalakan kameranya supaya kegiatannya bisa lebih interaktif lagi, ataupun kalau misalnya nanti akan ada sesi yang mengizinkan kalian untuk bisa ngobrol bareng sama pembicara kita pagi hari ini. Jadi biar sama-sama tahu kira-kira yang lagi ngobrol sama kita itu siapa aja. Dan untuk teman-teman yang ada di YouTube juga, kalau misalnya nanti kalian atau semua teman-teman yang hadir pagi hari ini ada pertanyaan seputar apapun itu yang sedang dijelaskan oleh pembicara kita pagi hari ini, terutama yang sesuai dengan tema dan topik yang akan dibahas pagi hari ini ya teman-teman ya. Kalian bisa mencantumkan pertanyaan kalian di kolom chat box. Nanti kita akan baca di sesi-sesi tertentu dan akan kita langsung jawab kalau memang waktunya memungkinkan. Jadi kalau misalnya nanti teman-teman ternyata di akhir acara ada beberapa pertanyaan yang belum bisa kita jawab karena memang keterbatasan waktu, nanti kita akan coba jawab di kesempatan-kesempatan berikutnya. Nah, sama seperti IF Talk sebelumnya, oh iya, aku lupa ini mau ngomong dulu kalau selamat tahun baru untuk kalian semua. Mungkin sudah ada beberapa yang ikut dari tahun lalu sampai hari ini. Kami mengucapkan selamat tahun baru untuk kalian semua dan selamat bergabung lagi di acara kita pagi hari ini. Nah, seperti biasa, sama seperti kegiatan IF Talk sebelumnya, bahwa kalian semua yang hadir di sini, terutama yang memang mungkin belum bergabung dengan IF, kalian mendapatkan fasilitas yang sama untuk bisa mengikuti konsultasi kemampuan bahasa Inggris gratis sama IF. Jadi kalau misalnya di sini ada Bapak dan Ibu, atau mungkin kalian di sini murid-murid dari sekolah, dari sekolah-sekolah rekanannya IF, pengen tahu kira-kira sejauh mana kemampuan bahasa Inggrisnya kalian, kalian bisa langsung ikut untuk konsultasi terkait kemampuan bahasa Inggrisnya kalian. Jadi di sini kalian bisa langsung analisa kira-kira kemampuan grammar atau speaking atau kemampuan kalian yang lain itu yang kurang dan perlu diperbaikin itu yang mana. Nah, nanti di situ kalian bisa langsung dijadwalkan dan langsung bisa berkonsultasi dengan EF Teacher untuk langsung tahu kira-kira poin-poin apa saja yang perlu kalian perbaiki untuk meningkatkan kemampuan bahasa Inggris kalian. Caranya gimana? Submit nama spasi usia, kirim ke 0822 2000 1000, formatnya sudah ada di layarnya kalian kalau misalnya kalian sudah bisa lihat. Sekali lagi, kirim format nama spasi usia, kirim ke 0822 2000 1000. Dan untuk kalian yang sudah hadir pagi hari ini, jangan sampai kalian meninggalkan acaranya sebelum selesai, karena nanti kita akan kasih tahu gimana caranya supaya kalian bisa mendapatkan hadiah dari IF dan juga bisa mendapatkan e-certificate kepesertaan yang bisa kalian gunakan untuk berbagai macam hal nanti di akhir acara ya. Jadi pastikan kalian tetap ikut kegiatannya sampai acara ini selesai. Oke? Langsung saja kalau begitu, untuk materi hari ini kita akan bahas seputar writing skills. Dan disclaimer dikit, kalau misalnya di sini ada adik-adik atau ada murid-murid dari sekolah yang mungkin usianya di bawah 10 tahun atau mungkin masih umur 7 tahun, materi yang akan disampaikan nanti akan disampaikan dalam bahasa Inggris. Jadi full akan disampaikan dalam bahasa Inggris, tapi jangan khawatir, nanti aku akan bantu untuk menjelaskan ulang poin per poinnya aja, tapi tidak secara keseluruhan ya teman-teman ya. Karena nanti pun kalian di akhir acara kita juga akan kasih tahu supaya kalian bisa mendapatkan materinya dan bisa dibaca ulang, gitu ya. Oke, dan nanti untuk materi yang dibahas ini akan ada di tingkat advance. Jadi nggak usah khawatir kalau misalnya nanti kalian kebingungan atau ngerasa penjelasannya terlalu cepat, nanti disampaikan aja di kolom chat box. Nanti kita coba ulangi lagi materi-materi yang mungkin kalian masih belum paham. Oke? Sudah bersama aku di studio di sini dengan Mr. Ashley. Good morning, Mr. Ashley.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Farid, and good morning and Happy New Year to everyone at home. Thank you for joining us. Hope you had a good holiday period, wherever you traveled to or stayed at home. So yes, today we are looking at some writing skills. So let me share that now. There we go. Okay, so writing skills. So of course, writing can be quite a difficult skill for us to practice, but there are some things we can use to help improve our writing. So today, we're going to look at 3 different skills. We're going to look at paraphrasing, cohesive devices, and complex sentences. So, shall I just get into it, Mr. Farid?
Sure. Okay, let me just tell them what will you going to be discuss. Okay,
Sure.
Dan ini adalah materi-materi yang akan nantinya dijelaskan sama Mr. Ashley terkait writing skills. Jadi nanti ada yang namanya paraphrasing, cohesive devices, dan complex sentences. Apa aja masing-masing itu? Kalian perhatikan dulu aja ya yang dijelaskan sama Mr. Ashley ya. Diperhatikan dulu dengan seksama. Kalau memang ada poin penting yang perlu kalian catat, silakan dicatat. Tapi nggak perlu mengcapture atau mencatat semua materi yang akan ditampilkan sama Mr. Ashley. Fokus aja dulu karena nanti di akhir acara kalian akan dapat materinya. Oke? Go ahead, Mr. Ashley.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Farid. So, let's start today with paraphrasing. Okay, so paraphrasing, what is it? So paraphrasing is when we are saying something but with different words. So it's still the same idea or concept, but we're changing the words, so it's not just copying the same words. For example, here we've got the person in red saying cuteness is present abundantly in kittens. But if we were to paraphrase and say it a different way, we could say, oh, she says kittens are very cute. They both have the same meaning, but we're using different words, Mr. Farid.
Oke, jadi singkatnya paraphrasing ini kalian mempersingkat penjelasan atau mungkin sesuatu yang kalian temui itu ternyata dirasa terlalu panjang tapi ternyata artinya itu masih bisa kalian singkatin lagi cuman tanpa merubah artinya. Itu namanya paraphrasing. Jadi kalau misalnya kalian lihat contohnya di situ ada 2 orang yang berdialog, padahal mereka berdua ini sama-sama membicarakan kucing yang lucu. Tapi ternyata orang pertama yang pakai baju merah itu menjelaskannya dengan bahasa yang sangat kompleks, yang cukup panjang, dan yang baju biru itu ternyata mereka bisa menjelaskannya dengan sesuatu yang lebih singkat dan mudah dipahami. Again, paraphrasing ini tujuannya tidak merubah arti atau makna dari penjelasan tersebut. Jadi dibuat lebih gampang dan lebih mudah dimengerti.
Yeah. So another example of this, maybe if I say, oh my goodness, in this classroom, it's absolutely freezing. If I changed it, paraphrased it, say, oh, Mr. Ashley says he is cold. It's the same meaning, yeah? So paraphrasing is the same meaning, but with different words. So why is this an important skill? Well, first, it shows you understand the source material. So it demonstrates that you can take that concept and use different words, showing you're not just copying the words, but you understand what they mean because you can present them in a different way. It also helps us to express ourselves in our own words, so it sounds more natural when we're writing. We all have our own writing style, and if we just copy someone else's words into our essay, into our writing, it sometimes doesn't look the same, yeah? It's like if Mr. Farid was speaking and then suddenly he copied exactly the same words as me, it would be, that doesn't sound like Farid, it sounds like someone else. So it's important that we have that style and continuation. And paraphrasing helps us do this. And also, it helps you to avoid plagiarism. Now, plagiarism is when we copy someone's material, copy someone's words directly. So if we're writing an essay at school and you just copy it all from Wikipedia and put it straight in, that is plagiarism. Same as if you are reading a book and you copy the words, put it straight in your essay, yeah, that's plagiarism. It means you are stealing or copying someone else's work. If we paraphrase, we can still use that information to help us express the idea in our writing.
Oke, jadi paraphrasing ini membantu kalian untuk memahami lebih mudah isi bacaan yang sedang kalian baca biasanya. Atau kalau misalnya kalian lagi dapat tugas, terus ternyata kalian diminta untuk merangkum apa yang sudah kalian baca. Jadi di situ kalian juga bisa ngetes kira-kira yang kalian baca itu sebenarnya kalian sudah paham nggak sih untuk menuliskan tersebut secara ulang dari apa yang kalian baca. Jadi dan paraphrasing ini akan membantu kalian juga untuk menjelaskan sesuatu dengan kata-kata kalian sendiri. Kayak misalnya aku sama Mr. Ashley nih, Mr. Ashley lagi ngejelasin sesuatu, aku juga lagi paraphrasing nih, tapi menjelaskannya secara verbal ke kalian. Jadi apapun yang menurutku itu ternyata sudah disampaikan sama Mr. Ashley supaya kalian bisa lebih mudah memahami hal tersebut, maka aku menyampaikan ulang. Nah, ini sama. Tapi bedanya adalah kalian menuliskan hal tersebut. Jadi kalian bisa menuliskannya sesuai dengan style kalian masing-masing. Itu paraphrasing. Dan yang paling terakhir adalah paraphrasing ini membantu kalian untuk mengurangi yang namanya plagiarisme. Kalau misalnya ini kayaknya jadi contoh banyak kalau misalnya adik-adik di sini lagi ngerjain PR, terus tiba-tiba lagi nyontoh ke temennya ya kan, biasanya itu nulis ulang pekerjaan rumah teman-temannya. Nah, itu biasanya kalau sesuai dengan pemahaman kalian, kalian bisa tulis ulang tapi tidak boleh dibuat sama dengan apa yang sudah kalian baca. Paraphrasing ini menuliskan ulang apa yang kalian ketahui tapi tanpa merubah konteksnya. Ingat ya garis bawahnya ya. Paraphrasing ini menuliskan ulang apa yang sudah kalian ketahui, entah itu kalimat apapun itu atau bacaan yang kalian baca. Kayak misalnya tadi sempat dimention sama Mr. Ashley, kalian dapat tugas misalnya buat esai, terus kalian buka website di Wikipedia, langsung copy paste aja dari situ ke tugasnya kalian, itu namanya plagiarism. Nah, tapi dari hal yang kalian baca itu kalian tulis ulang sesuai dengan style tulisan kalian dan sesuai dengan apa yang kalian pahami tanpa merubah makna dan konteksnya. Itu paraphrasing. Oke? Sampai di sini paham ya? Tidak ada kebingungan ya?
Okay, thank you, Farid. So how can we paraphrase? So one way we can do this is using synonyms. Now, synonyms are words that have a similar or same meaning, but they're not the same word. So let's look at an example. Here we've got approximately 1,000 students may be assisted by the proposed program. Okay, now we've got green, blue, and yellow or orange. So how could we rewrite this sentence? Well, approximately, we could say about, approximately, they have a similar or same meaning, yeah? So about 1,000 students or around 1,000 students may be helped, assisted, they have same or similar meaning. Proposed program, we could say planned program. So here we're changing that sentence and paraphrasing using our own words. So here's an example of how to use synonyms to paraphrase.
Oke, jadi salah satu cara supaya kalian bisa lebih gampang untuk melakukan paraphrasing adalah menggunakan sinonim atau kata-kata yang memiliki arti yang sama ya. Jadi katanya beda tapi artinya sama. Nah, salah satu contohnya yang ditunjukkan sama Mr. Ashley adalah dua kalimat tersebut. Kayak misalnya approximately itu kayak misalnya kira-kira sekitar 1.000 siswa. Jadi itu bisa diganti about atau around. Tadi misalnya Mr. Ashley menyampaikan. Terus tadi assisted bisa diganti dengan help. Propose bisa diganti dengan plan. Jadi hal-hal yang memang menurut kalian itu kalau misalnya kalian perlu copy atau perlu menuliskan ulang dan kalian tidak paham, kalian bisa menuliskan hal tersebut tanpa mengubah maknanya ya, sekali lagi ya. Tanpa mengubah maknanya dengan kata-kata lain yang memang kalian bisa lebih memahami hal tersebut dengan mudah. Oke?
Okay, thank you, Farid. So let's try together. Here again, we've got 3 words, the green word, the blue word, the orange words. I want you to try and paraphrase using synonyms. So let's try although. For number 1, in the chat box, which words could we use instead of although? Type your answer in the chat box.
Kita coba ya sekarang ya pakai sinonim. Sebisanya aja dulu. Again, sekali lagi, di awal tadi sudah sempat aku sampaikan bahwa mungkin ini levelnya akan ada di tingkat advance. Jadi sebisanya teman-teman aja. Kita sekarang coba paraphrasing menggunakan sinonim di kolom chat box ya teman-teman. Silahkan gunakan kolom chat box. Kira-kira menurut kalian di angka 1, 2, dan 3 itu, although strategy a little dangerous itu kalian bisa ganti menggunakan kata apa yang artinya sama.
Okay, so we're getting some responses. Let me check our chat. So we've got
Even though,
a lot of even thoughs, good. Despite. So despite would be, yes, despite something being, so with a verbing. But a lot of even those, let's see. Good, yeah, even though the coaches. Now, what's another word for strategy, everybody? Number 2.
Oke, sekarang kita beralih ke yang nomor 2 ya. Strategi kira-kira bisa diganti pakai kata apa?
Good,
Plan.
okay. A lot of plans coming through. Yes.
Udah pada jago loh ya kalian loh ya.
Tactics could work as well. If the tactics
Oke,
were
taktik juga
dangerous,
bisa.
yeah. Tactics, plan, good. Okay. And a little dangerous. Another word for a little dangerous. What would we say?
Little dangerous. Kira-kira apa ini yang bisa diganti? Risky.
Risky. A lot of people say risky. Not like the name Rizky, yeah? Risky.
Yeah, risky.
Risky. Yeah, good. Risky. But there are other words you could use. I think was maybe unsafe. Maybe unsafe and a little dangerous. Not quite the same here, but similar. Yeah, risky is okay. The coach's plan, the coach's tactics were risky. That works as well. So there are different synonyms we can use to help us with paraphrasing. There's not only one correct answer.
Oke, jadi nggak cuma ada satu sinonim yang bisa kalian gunakan ya, tapi juga ada banyak. Again, tapi dilihat dulu konteks kalimatnya juga ya teman-teman ya. Kalau misalnya ternyata emang itu sesuai dengan konteks kalimatnya, maka kalian bisa pakai meskipun artinya sama. Oke?
Okay, so let's try again. Here we've got our sentence, the student was expelled for violating the school's no cheating policy. Okay, so let's try and paraphrase. First, number one, what could we use instead of expelled? What do you think, guys?
Oke, kita coba lagi. Kira-kira selain expelled, terus ada violating and policy.
Okay, got a few here.
Kicked out.
Kicked out, or kicked out, okay.
Kick out.
Withdrawn.
Dropped out.
Withdrawn kind of works as well. So this one, yeah, kicked out.
Oh, okay.
Good job. Kicked out is another word of saying
Ini kayaknya emang levelnya udah pada tinggi-tinggi ya yang join sekarang ya.
Now, the difference between dropped out and kicked out, drop out is when you kind of do it yourself. So I dropped out. Mr. Farid cannot drop me out. He can't drop me out of the school.
Okay.
But Mr. Farid could kick me out. That would be he expelled me. Yeah. So there's a slight difference with those two. Okay, what about violating? What's another word for violating?
Kalau kita mau ganti yang violating, kira-kira
recording
apa ini,
stopped. Recording in progress.
Okay, got a lot of breaking. Violating. Let's see what here. Crossing, infraction. Okay, let's take a look. Oop.
Breaking.
Breaking, good, yes. Breaking the school's no cheating. Now, a policy, another word for a policy could be. I think I might have shown you the answer by accident there, guys. Oh, well, yes, you're right. It should be the no cheating rule. Good. A policy is a set of rules. So, yeah, those are some ways we can paraphrase. So, again, if we were using this first sentence to help with our writing, instead of plagiarizing, copying it exactly, we could use different words to paraphrase it and make it better for us in our writing.
Oke, jadi again ini tipsnya dari Mr. Ashley. Kalau ternyata kalian ada tugas untuk bikin esai dan apapun itu, dua kalimat ini kan artinya sama tuh. Tapi kalau misalnya kalian instead of langsung copy paste kata-kata atau kalimat atau penjelasan yang kalian temukan itu di website atau dari manapun itu, kalian bisa gunakan paraphrasing dengan sinonim terutama. Jadi kalau ternyata kalian bisa menemukan hal-hal yang bisa kalian ganti tanpa mengubah maknanya, sekali lagi kalian bisa ganti itu. Jadi kalian bisa menghindari yang namanya plagiarism. Okay?
So let's look at this in a test format, right? So here we've got academic writing task, and our information next to this chart says the chart gives information on the number of languages spoken by households in Eli, UK, or Ellie, UK. I'm not sure actually if it's Ellie or Eli. I think Ellie. So here, sometimes when we're answering this question, we need to paraphrase that information first. So we could do this here. So instead of the chart, we could say the pie chart gives information, shows details. They have the same meaning. The number of languages. Now here we can see there are 5 languages. So English, French, Spanish, Arabic, Hindi. So we could say 5 different languages spoken within homes, spoken by households, spoken within homes. They have the same meaning. So sometimes in an exam, or with an academic task, we want to paraphrase that. So here's an example of doing that. Now it's your turn. Now this is a little bit more tricky, right? So here you've got the chart shows the total number of minutes in billions of telephone calls in France, divided into 3 categories from 1997 to 2001. Okay, so over to you. Would you like to try and rephrase this information? Try and type it in the chat box. I'll give you maybe 1 minute or so because it will take some time, but see how you get on.
Oke. Jadi selain daripada untuk hal-hal yang mungkin lebih basic, biasanya paraphrasing ini digunakan untuk menjelaskan academic writing. Tadi misalnya di contoh yang pertama itu untuk menjelaskan pie chart. Jadi ketika kamu mau ngambil data atau apapun itu, again ya, sekali lagi karena konsepnya supaya kalian terhindar dari yang namanya plagiarism, kalian bisa menjelaskan ulang hal tersebut dengan hal-hal yang kalian lebih paham. Jadi kalau misalnya kalian langsung copy, yang kalian akan kena, jadi kalian bisa menjelaskan hal tersebut dengan sinonim yang tadi mungkin, atau dengan hal yang lain yang mungkin lebih gampang supaya kalian bisa menjelaskan atau menangkap hal tersebut bisa lebih mudah. Nah, kali ini kita coba lebih sulit sedikit, oke. Dibalikin lagi ke kalian coba jelaskan lagi melalui kolom chat box kalau ternyata kalian melihat yang namanya is that diagram?
Yeah, this is a chart. Yeah, sort of diagram.
Oh yeah, it's chart. Ya. Di chart itu kalau misalnya kalian ngelihat itu kan udah itu penjelasannya di sebelah kanan. Nah, menurut kalian kalau misalnya kalian diminta untuk menjelaskan ulang hal tersebut, kalian harus mengganti yang ada warna hijau, biru, kuning sama merah. Untuk diganti kira-kira menurut kalian seperti apa? Coba yuk, latihan yuk.
So remember, use these colors to help you. So if it says the chart, think of another way we could say the chart. We could describe the specific chart. This is not a pie chart, it's something else. Then we've got total number of minutes of telephone calls. So another word for total or something similar. Divided into 3 categories. How can we say that in a different way? And from 1997 to 2001. So that's telling us the years. Maybe there's another way of presenting that information. Okay, we're getting a few answers in the chat. Let me open up. Let's see. So starting with, okay, the bar chart, the bar graph, the graph, okay.
Oke, mulai dari yang warna biru ya ini ya, berarti hijau ya berarti ya, the chart.
Okay, so let's say
bar
the graph or the bar chart or the information is okay. How about this blue one here, the total number of minutes of telephone calls? How could we say that in another way? Oh, I've got one from Yasmin here. It shows the number of telephone calls in France divided into 3 categories in 5 years. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, that is pretty good. The description shows the number of telephone calls. Yes, in France, divided into categories. Maybe instead of in 5 years, could be over 5 years. So a different preposition. The amount of telephone duration. Okay, duration is quite a good one. Duration of telephone calls in France. Yeah, duration is a nice one for a total number of. Chart, like show how many minutes of telephone calls, okay. So if we're on about total, I think duration is quite good actually. Duration of minutes is good. From Andre here, bar graph shows the total amount of minutes, billions of calls made in France, broken down into 3 groups between 1997 to 2001. That's pretty good. Well done, Andre. I've got one here, I think, from Juliana. The graphic shows the full scale of minutes of telephone calls in France over 5 years that divided into 3 categories. Okay, over 5 years is good. Maybe full scale, not quite. Something similar to full scale. But pretty good try there. In France, so much people calling. Yes, I guess it is describing how many minutes they are calling, yeah. Okay, we've got some good answers there, everybody. So here's an example. Again, there's more than one correct way to paraphrase this. But we could say the bar graph shows the combined time spent in billions of minutes on 3 different kinds of phone calls in France, over a 5-year period. So from 1997 to 2001, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001. That's 5 years. So we could say 5 years is another way of saying from 97 to 2001. Okay, guys, well done. So thank you very much for your answers. So that's paraphrasing. Yeah, please make sure you practice this. It's very important for your writing. Yeah.
Oke, jadi itu tadi ya contohnya paraphrasing ya. Sudah dikasih tahu sama Mr. Ashley contohnya tadi gimana. Yang hijau bisa diperjelas lagi. Kayak tadi contoh yang pertama kan ada pie chart. Terus ini kita pakai the bar graph. Terus habis itu yang warna biru itu bisa diganti dengan combined time spent in billions of minutes. Yang kuning, nah itu juga bisa diganti 3 different kinds. Again, mereka semua masih punya arti yang sama dan masih bisa terkait satu sama lain untuk menjelaskan bar tersebut. Jadi paraphrasing itu digunakan sekali lagi tidak mengganti konteks yang ingin kalian jelaskan ya teman-teman ya. Kalian bisa pakai sinonim di mana artinya yang sama dengan kata-kata yang ingin kalian ganti, tapi sekali lagi tidak mengganti konteks yang ingin kalian jelaskan. Oke? That's paraphrasing.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barrett. So next, our next skill we're practicing. Oh, for referencing as well, paraphrasing, you'll get this information in the PDF, yeah? So sometimes I may skip for time, but they can get the PDF later, yeah, Mr. Barrett?
Sure.
Okay, so cohesive devices. So what are cohesive devices? Well, here we have some examples. Some for comparison, some for contrast, highlighting, reformulation, and there are other types of cohesive device too. So what are they? And why do we use them? So these types of words, they help guide the person reading through your content. So they're really important to help make your writing make sense and help the reader understand where you are going, understand the direction of your message. And they also show connections between different parts of information. By using these, if we're using contrast, for example, we could say maybe Surabaya is a hot city. In comparison, Boston in the US is colder. Using that cohesive device, it helps us understand, oh, we are about to contrast the two bits of information. So these types of words really help us to understand how our text is, and it helps the reader understand where we're going, Farid.
Okay, can you give us an example for these cohesive devices, maybe, actually?
We can, yes.
Yeah.
So before we go on to the examples, so also think of cohesive as adhesive. Basically, they are like, it's like glue that helps stick our sentences and our writing together. With these words, it helps us understand the flow of your writing. So let's see an example here. Here, she's a very well-behaved child. In comparison, her brother is very naughty. So this word here, in comparison, it's about contrasting, showing differences between two things. Another example. Kevin received the highest grades in all of his exams and went to university at the age of 16. In other words, he is an academic genius. So here, in other words, this is an example of reformulation, which is saying it in another way. A little bit like paraphrasing. One more example. Tourists from all over the world visit Indonesia every year. Bali, in particular, is an extremely popular destination. So here, in particular, we are highlighting a particular example. We're highlighting the example of our previous sentence. So these are 3 examples of the cohesive devices, and they help the reader understand where we are going, Farid.
Oke, jadi cohesive devices ini simpelnya adalah untuk memperjelas sesuatu ya teman-teman ya. Jadi ini kan tadi ada macam-macamnya nih. Kayak misalnya di 3 contoh yang sekarang nih teman-teman lihat, itu ada contrasting, reformulation, sama highlighting. Nah, contohnya yang pertama itu maksudnya dia memperjelas, kayak misalnya she's a very well-behaved child, in comparison her brother is very naughty. Jadi kayak dia tuh memperjelas sesuatu bahwa anak ini tuh beneran baik. Ya, kalau misalnya kamu pengen tahu dia bener-bener baik, contohnya tuh adiknya tuh nakal, kayak contohnya kayak gitu. Terus misalnya di contoh yang kedua itu di situ dia memperjelas bahwa si Kevin ini beneran pinter. Nah, cara memperjelas supaya dia beneran tahu kalau si Kevin ini pinter, dia juga menunjukkan bahwa ternyata dia itu masuk universitas di umurnya dia yang ke-16. Jadi di situ dia memperjelas pakai yang namanya apa itu reformulation itu tadi. Atau contoh yang terakhir itu yang dia harus memperjelas lagi kira-kira area mana sih di Indonesia itu yang paling sering divisit sama turis. Nah, dia memperjelas bahwa Bali itu jadi salah satu contoh tempat yang paling sering dikunjungi sama turis. Ya, gitu. Jadi, again yang namanya cohesive devices ini dipakai untuk memperjelas sesuatu ya. Tapi ada macam-macamnya juga nanti. Nah, kalau misalnya nanti teman-teman masih bingung, materinya teman-teman kita akan kirimkan ke teman-teman ya nanti aja, nggak usah bingung kok. Tapi kalau misalnya teman-teman ada pertanyaan soal cohesive devices ini, langsung aja ditanyakan di chat box. Nanti kita bahas sama Mr. Ashley, oke?
Thank you, Ferry. So, here are some examples. So now it's time for us to practice. Okay. Thank you, Yasmin. Yes, thank you for your comments. Yeah, using these types of words can really make your writing stand out and show that your English is better. So it's good that we practice these. All right, so you've got 4 options here. Comparing, contrasting, highlighting, reformulation. And our sentence, London is a large, vibrant city which millions of people visit each year. Blah, blah, blah. Melksham is a traditional market town known with a population of 20,000. I think I've made a typo there, but Melksham is a traditional market town with a population of 20,000. Forget that known. Sorry, I think I made a typo there. So, traditional market town with a population of 20,000. So, what do you think we're doing here? Do you think it's going to be A, B, C, or D? Are we comparing to? Are we contrasting to? Are we highlighting? Or are we reformulating? So in the chat box, A, B, C, or D, what do you think?
Oke, menurut teman-teman kira-kira jawabannya yang mana? Kalau kita mau pakai cohesive devices dari contoh kalimat itu, apakah maksudnya Mr. Ashley itu comparing, atau contrasting, highlighting, atau reformulation?
Okay, getting a lot of B's here, a lot of B's. So, let's see if you're correct. Oh, let me get rid of the chat. There we go. Okay, now before we look at the answer, let's look at the information here. So we've got London is a large, vibrant city. Melksham is a traditional market town. Are they the same? Are they similar? Maybe not, yeah. Millions of people visit London. Only 20,000 people in Melksham. Is that the same or different? I think it's different. So if it's different, we are contrasting. So we can say conversely. On the other hand, one of these words to show contrasting. So well done if you answered B, yes.
Okay.
But please, yeah, please ignore this no. This was a typo. I will change it for the PDF, okay.
Ya, jadi ini contrasting ya, teman-teman ya. Nah, dari London sama si Melksham itu tadi, oke?
Okay, let's try another one. Okay, let's try again. So this time we've got addition, exemplification, sequencing, transition. And our words furthermore, for instance, then, with regards to. So Andy is an excellent candidate for the job. He is focused, organized, and very experienced. Blah, blah, blah. He is willing to relocate to Indonesia as soon as possible. So let's hire him. What's the missing word? A, B, C, or D in the chat box now.
Okay.
Let's take a look. Okay. We've got a lot of, I think lots of A's here. It's difficult to scroll through because we've got 180 people, but we're all, I think, going for A. Okay. Awesome, guys. Lots of A's. So let's see the information here. We've got focused, organized, experienced, and then willing to relocate to Indonesia. So here, if we're using B, for instance, are we showing an example of being focused, organized, experienced? Not really, not in this second sentence. Then doesn't really work in this example. But are we adding some more good positive points about Andy? Yes, we are. So correct, it should be A.
80.
Furthermore, so in addition, also, he's willing to come to Indonesia. So it's another positive, 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 and then another positive, but not related to those other three. Well done if you got that correct. Good job, everybody. Lots of A's. Okay. So let's make it a little bit more challenging now. I've given you two places, France and the UK. I'd like you to make a sentence either with similarly, sorry. Similarly, sorry, I need another coffee, I think. Similarly or in contrast. Now, you can use either of these. You can use both if you'd like. But can you make a sentence with France and the UK using this information? I'll give you maybe 1 minute to type a sentence in the chat box, Mr. Parrot.
Oke, kalau tadi milih kan gampang banget tuh, tinggal milih A, B, C, or D. Nah, sekarang kalian coba bikin kalimat untuk cohesive devices menggunakan contoh yang sudah ditampilkan sama Mr. Ashley di layar itu. Kira-kira kalian akan menggunakan yang mana nih kalau misalnya ada case yang seperti itu di chat box. Jadi buat kalimatnya nanti kita akan bahas sama-sama kira-kira yang lebih sesuai itu comparison atau contrast, oke?
Okay, so try to make a sentence this time, everybody. So not just choosing one word. I want you to either compare or contrast France and the UK based on either population or area. Okay, so type a sentence in the chat box now. I'll give you maybe 1 minute. And I'll start looking through our chat now.
Ya, dicoba ya.
Make the sentence.
Ya,
the right sentence, ya.
Bukan jawab yang mana comparison atau kontrasnya ya, tapi coba bikin kalimatnya. Menurut kalian yang lebih sesuai yang mana? Kalau ternyata sudah dikasih case sama Mr. Ashley seperti itu, kira-kira yang lebih cocok, yang lebih sesuai untuk dibikin cohesive devices itu kalimatnya comparison atau contrast.
Yeah, and try to use these words, yeah, either similarly or in contrast.
Nah, itu keywordnya udah dikasih tuh sama Mr. Ashley. Jadi bisa pakai similarly atau in contrast. Similarly.
Okay, Yasmin. France has 68 million population in total. Similarly, the UK has 65 million population. Okay, that's a pretty good way of using that similarly. Let's see here. Tobago's France has 68 million people, while UK has 65 million people. That's good. But we're trying to practice using our similarly or in contrast, yeah? But otherwise, that sentence does make sense. Let's see, go around to Enrico. In comparison, France has 68 million people, while UK has 65. Well, here, comparison, France. I guess you could use that in comparison. Oh, maybe you want in comparison afterwards. France has 68 million people. In comparison, the UK has 65 million people. Sean, we've got in contrast. Now here, I guess we are maybe contrasting, but 68 and 65, they're perhaps quite similar, yeah? They're not exactly the same, but they're more similar. All right, getting lots of answers through now. Thank you so much, everybody. Maybe one or two more. France and the UK have a similar, we'd say a similar population. The population in France are 68 million. Similarly, in the UK, 65 million. Yeah, we're kind of getting there, guys. France is 68 million. Okay. All right, guys, we're getting lots of good attempts here. Here are a couple of examples here. So France has a population of 68 million. Similarly, the UK has a population of 65 million. So this word here, we're making a comparison between 68 and 65. And those are kind of the same, yeah? They're close. They're not exactly the same number, but they're similar. If we're to use in contrast, we could say the UK has an area size of 250,000 square kilometers. In contrast, France has a much larger area because these two numbers are not similar, yeah? They are quite different. France is more than 2 times the size of the UK. So here we'd use in contrast to show there is a difference. We are comparing the two. We are contrasting those two details. Okay, lots of sentences in the chat box. Thank you very much, everybody. So you'll get some more time to practice this when you download the materials. You can try again. But those are some cohesive devices. There are lots of other cohesive devices. We looked at a few there, but yeah, the important thing is they help guide the reader through your text. We know what to expect. If I'm reading your text and it says, in contrast, I know the next part is going to contrast this information to the previous information.
Yay!
Yay! So this is why they're important. They help your writing connect and flow, make your writing nice and clear, also help your writing sound more mature, yeah? We want our writing to be more advanced when we're doing tasks. If the teacher can see you're using this advanced vocabulary, it will get you better scores, right? So using a variety of these demonstrates you've got a good level of English.
Oke, jadi biar kelihatan makin profesional lagi nih gaya tulisannya. Nah, cohesive devices ini akan ngebantu kalian untuk membuat tulisan kalian terutama dalam bahasa Inggris itu terlihat lebih profesional lagi, oke? Dari situ juga udah dijelasin kira-kira kenapa sih akhirnya si cohesive devices ini penting untuk kalian pelajari lebih lanjut terutama untuk writing skills.
Okay. Mr. Fred, do you want to go on to the next skill? Or
yeah, I think I have something to be presented before you continue to complex sentences, okay? Nah, kayak tadi yang sempat aku mention nih di awal, kalau ternyata kalian bisa dapat hadiah nanti di akhir acara, gimana caranya? Kalian cukup buat story di Instagram dengan meng-capture salah satu slide yang mungkin setelah ini akan Mr. Ashley lanjutkan. Kalian capture, kalian buat story, kira-kira apa aja yang sudah kalian pelajari hari ini nanti. Tulis apapun pesan kalian terkait, pesan dan kesan kalian terkait mengikuti IF Talks pagi hari ini, dan mention Instagram @IF_Surabaya ya di story-nya. Nanti untuk 3 story terpilih, kita akan repost, dan story yang kita repost itu akan mendapatkan hadiah langsung dari IF Surabaya untuk dikirim ke lokasi kalian masing-masing. Jadi itu yang bisa kalian lakukan supaya kalian bisa dapat hadiah. Sekali lagi, capture aja nanti salah satu slide-nya di sini yang nanti akan dilanjutkan lagi sama Mr. Ashley materinya. Terus kalian buat pesan dan kesan kira-kira aku udah belajar ini hari ini, dulu aku nggak bisa, sekarang bisa, tapi besok aku lupa. Nggak ya? Juga. Apapun itu yang kalian mau tulis nanti. Terus jangan lupa untuk tag Instagramnya @IF_Surabaya. Terus kalian post di story, nanti 3 story yang kita repost akan mendapatkan hadiah langsung dari IF yang akan kita kirimkan ke tempat kalian masing-masing. Oke? Nah, selain itu, seperti biasa, tadi aku juga mau remind ke kalian semua bahwa mungkin di sini ada adik-adik atau ada mungkin bapak dan ibu yang mungkin lagi nonton untuk putra-putrinya. Kalau ternyata di sini belum berkesempatan untuk bergabung sama IF, terutama untuk wilayah Jawa Timur, Bali, dan Lombok, kalian semua bisa memanfaatkan fasilitas yang namanya konsultasi bahasa Inggris gratis. Jadi di konsultasi ini nanti kalian bisa mengetahui kira-kira kemampuan bahasa Inggris kalian itu, terutama grammar atau speakingnya itu yang kurang dan perlu diperbaiki itu gimana sih. Nah, caranya supaya kalian bisa langsung dijadwalkan untuk datang ke IF Center, kalian bisa kirim ke WhatsApp dengan format nama spasi usia, kirim ke 0822 2000. Nanti akan ada tim dari course consultant-nya IF yang akan menghubungi kalian untuk langsung diundang datang ke IF Center dan berkonsultasi dengan IF Teacher untuk mengetahui kira-kira sejauh apa sih penguasaan bahasa Inggris kalian dan apa yang perlu kalian perbaiki. Nah, selain itu kalau misalnya nanti acara ini selesai, kita akan punya acara lagi 2 minggu yang akan datang, tanggal 28 Januari. Kita akan bahas lagi seputar bahasa Inggris. Ini mungkin nanti bisa diikutin oleh semua orang kalau misalnya kalian penasaran. Kita akan bedah soal-soal masalah UTBK atau SNBT tahun ini. Karena memang tahun ini kan untuk UTBK sama SNBT ini kita fokusnya literasi bahasa Inggris. Nah, jadi nanti kita akan lihat contoh-contoh soalnya seperti apa, dan kita akan kasih tips gimana sih caranya kalian bisa mengerjakan macam-macam jenis soal bahasa Inggris di UTBK atau SNBT tahun ini, supaya kalian bisa siap. Ini bisa diikuti oleh semua kelas. Jadi nggak hanya untuk teman-teman yang mungkin mau masuk kuliah, kalau misalnya kalian lagi ada di jenjang SMP atau SMA kelas 1, kelas 2, tapi kalian penasaran dengan soal-soal UTBK atau SNBT, nanti kita akan bahas. Tapi ini kita tidak bahas secara detail ya teman-teman. Kita akan kasih tahu kalian kira-kira dari macam-macam jenis soal itu gimana caranya kalian bisa mengerjakan. Oke? kita lanjut lagi ke Mr. Ashley. Nanti linknya akan dicantumkan di chat box untuk kalian bisa mendaftar di F-Talk selanjutnya ya di tanggal 28 Januari. Oke?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Farrell. I think, is this screen sharing again now? Yeah. Excellent. Okay. All right, so we've looked at paraphrasing. We've looked at cohesive devices. One more skill today, and that is complex sentences. All right. So complex sentences. What is a complex sentence? So let's look at 3 different types of sentence. First, a simple sentence. He laughed. She cried. So a simple sentence is a subject and a verb, or maybe subject, verb, object as well. I bought a mouse. I called my mum. These are simple sentences. Number 2, we have a compound sentence. Now here is where we have 2 simple sentences or more simple sentences, but they're connected with something called a coordinator. So something like, he laughed and she smiled. That's a compound sentences because you have 2 simple sentences to become a compound sentence. I waited at the mall. They didn't come. 2 complete sentences with but becomes a compound sentence. Okay. So what is a complex sentence? Let's see. He smiles when he is happy. Okay. So we've got 2 different parts of this sentence. We've got he smiles. Okay. That's a complete sentence. He smiles. She walks. I run. That's a sentence, yeah? But when he is happy, that is not a complete sentence. We cannot write blah, 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 and then when he is happy, full stop. It needs something connected to it. It needs to be connected to another sentence so that it makes sense. So here in our purple side, we've got an independent idea. So this is a clause, a complete sentence. He smiles. And then a dependent clause, dependent idea, that is something that needs to be connected to make sense. And a complex sentence is an independent idea connected to a dependent idea. Okay? All right.
So it means it's explain why he smiles or something like that?
Yes, a complex sentence, yeah, gives a bit of an explanation to why he smiles, but it's basically a complete sentence mixed with an incomplete sentence to give it more detail, yes, so it's more clearly explained. And these are called complex sentences. So let's look at an example here. So our independent clause, because sometimes people get confused about clauses, right? So an independent clause, we see this boy, he's independent, he's strong. So an independent clause can exist on their own. They don't need help from any other words. They can exist, you can write the complete sentence. You don't need to add something else. But a dependent clause is something which needs help. So if we think of a dependent clause as this little girl needs some help from someone else. The little girl is the dependent clause, and the older boy is the independent clause. So these types of sentence need to be connected. You cannot have them on their own. And don't worry, there's going to be some more examples. Yes.
So if we go back to your previous slide,
yes,
about he smiles, is that we can call independent clause?
That's correct.
So
yes.
Because they don't need any other things to help those sentences.
It means
clear, right?
Yeah, it means we can write he smiles, full stop. That works as a sentence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't need help. It can have help.
Okay.
But it's okay. We can write he smiles, full stop.
Okay.
But the other one, the red one, we can't write when he is happy, full stop. Huh?
They
need some more information.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, when he is happy, he goes to the park. Oh, okay, good. He is not sad when he is happy. But if it's just when he is happy, full stop, doesn't make sense.
Okay.
We need some extra information.
Oke, jadi ini kalau misalnya saya coba bantu jelaskan ulang, apa sih complex sentences itu ya? Di sini Mr. Ashley kasih 3 contoh nih. Kalau misalnya teman-teman lihat di tabel, ada simple sentence, ada compound sentence, sama complex sentence. Nah, kalau misalnya kita langsung ke complex sentence-nya aja ya teman-teman ya. Jadi di complex sentence itu ada yang namanya independent clause sama dependent clause. Kalau misalnya teman-teman lihat yang warna ungu sama merah, yang warna ungu itu kalau misalnya dia mau jadi suatu kalimat itu maksudnya dia nggak perlu bantuan dari apa ya namanya poin lain untuk memperjelas kalimat tersebut. Jadi he smiles titik itu sudah jelas. Tapi kalau misalnya kita balik ke yang warna merah ke dependent clause, when he is happy itu jadinya gantung. Itu namanya dependent clause. Jadi when he is happy itu dia masih perlu diperjelas dengan klausa yang lain untuk memperjelas kenapa dia terus maksudnya dia happy ini kenapa gitu. Akhirnya muncullah si independent clause itu. He smile when he is happy. Gitu. Jadi complex sentences ini maksudnya mungkin lebih ke memperjelas sesuatu yang mau kalian jelaskan lagi gitu. Jadi ketika ada yang namanya independent clause sama dependent clause itu jadi satu yang namanya complex sentences. Sampai sini paham ya teman-teman ya? Kalau ternyata ini masih kesulitan untuk teman-teman pahami, ditulis aja di chatbox, nanti kita bahas lagi, oke?
Thank you, Farid. Okay, so let's look at an example. An independent clause here. Fenty studied in the library for the exam. Is that a complete sentence? Yes, it is, yeah. We can write that. That makes sense. We know all the information. But a dependent clause may be when Fenty studied in the library. Does that work on its own? No, it doesn't. We need some more information. It needs to be connected to something else to make sense. So let's connect it. What if we say, when Fenty studied in the library, it was very quiet. Does that make sense now? Is that a complete sentence? Yes, it is. So we've got our dependent clause, our red clause, with our independent, the purple, to make a complex sentence. Okay. So let's look at some more examples here before you try yourself. So a complex sentence with anticipation. This is where we have the dependent clause at the start. Whenever it rains, I like to wear my blue coat. Whenever it rains is not a full sentence. I like to wear my blue coat is a full sentence, but we can connect them together. We can also put it in the middle. If we have our full sentence, our independent sentence, the pizza was now ruined, that's a complete sentence. But if we make some more information, put some more information, which had traveled all the way from Italy, we've now got a complex sentence. And our dependent clause is in the middle. Or a sentence with afterthought. This means the dependent clause is at the end, yeah? John decided to enter the building, even though he hadn't been given permission. If we just write, even though he hadn't been given permission on its own, it doesn't work. We need that extra information for us to use it as a complete sentence.
Oke, jadi ini salah satu contoh complex sentences ya teman-teman ya. Again, ini sama dengan yang cohesive devices. Jadi ada berbagai macam cohesive devices. Sama dengan complex sentence. Ini juga ada berbagai macam contohnya. Ada yang namanya anticipation, interruptions, sama afterthought.
Afterthought, yeah.
Afterthought. Oke, jadi ini contohnya. Again, yang namanya complex sentences ini konsepnya dibuat sederhana dulu ya, bahwa ada yang namanya independent clause sama dependent clause. Pokoknya complex sentence itu terdiri dari dua hal ini. Kenapa? Kalau ternyata kalian menuliskan sesuatu yang ada di warna ungu itu, misalnya di contoh kalimat yang pertama, anticipation, I like to wear my blue coat. Ya, terus kenapa? Itu tidak akan menjelaskan apapun dari yang kalian sampaikan. Tapi di situ dibutuhkan yang namanya independent clause di depannya. Jadi ada yang namanya whenever it rains, terus ada I like to wear my blue coat. Gitu. Jadi, again, konsep dasarnya di situ dulu aja supaya teman-teman nggak bingung. Yang namanya complex sentences pasti ada yang namanya independent clause dan dependent clause. Oke?
Thank you, Farid. So, let's try. Here we go. We've got, although she was blah, blah, blah. Okay. So these red words, these are dependent clauses. They need someone to help them. So can you complete the sentence in the chat box? Although she was blah, blah, blah. Type your answer in the chat box now.
Oke, ini ada kata-kata acak. Sekarang kita coba, kalian latihan dulu di kolom chat box. Itu sudah dikasih clue-nya sama Mr. Ashley yang warna merah. Although she was, tapi kalimat yang bawah itu ternyata lagi acak. Sekarang teman-teman silahkan susun kalimatnya seperti apa menggunakan although she was.
Okay, so in the chat box, what do you think? How can we make this sentence complete? Although she was... Okay, thank you, Peter. Although she was smart, she failed all her exams. Let's take a look. Yeah, almost. Although she was considered smart, she failed all her exams. So
Considerednya ketinggalan.
Yeah, everyone thought she was smart, but she failed her exams. Yeah. Good. Thank you, Michelle. Although she was considered smart, she failed all her exams. Yes, Andri, Hartika as well. Thank you so much. Okay, let's try another one. So our dependent clause, our independent clause, this would be anticipation because the dependent clause is at the start. It's anticipating something else. Okay, let's try another one.
Okay, selanjutnya. The doctor, bla bla bla. Menurut kalian?
Yeah, try to
Jadi seperti apa nih kalimatnya?
In the chat box. So the doctor, blah, 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 blah. Write the full sentence in the chat box, please.
The doctor who lives in Kediri enjoys playing badminton.
Okay, let's check in our chat. All right, getting a few answers through now. Okay, yes, got from Michelle, from Andre, Peter, Enrico. Is it Autota? 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 G'day, Newasta, Deandra, lots of them. Okay, thank you, Rochelle. Yes, this one. The doctor who lives in Kediri enjoys playing badminton. Yes. So the doctor who enjoys playing badminton, that is a complete sentence, an independent clause. And if we put who lives in Kediri, we've made an interrupted complex sentence. Well done, everybody. Okay, time for one more before we finish today. Our last one here. I'm not giving you any clues this time. Try to make a complete sentence here, a complete complex sentence. What do you think it is? Type your answers in the chat box now.
Oke, satu soal terakhir sebelum kita menyelesaikan kelas hari ini. Oke. Menurut kalian kira-kira kalimat acak itu akan jadi kalimat yang seperti apa? Kate won the competition even though she was sick.
Okay. Already getting some in here, yes. Kate won the competition even though she was sick. So we've got...
She won... I think I saw another...
Yeah, I think lots of you are getting this.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So here... Correct, yes. Katie won the competition even though she was sick. So here we have our independent clause. Katie won the competition. That's a full sentence. Even though she was sick, that's a dependent sentence. It doesn't make sense on its own. So here, this is a complex sentence with afterthought. So afterthought, the dependent clause comes at the end.
Okay, well done everyone. Oke, itu tadi yang udah dibahas ya sama Mr. Ashley hari ini tentang paraphrasing, cohesive devices, complex sentences juga. Yang terakhir kalian belajar tentang afterthought di complex sentences. Again ya, konsepnya tadi kalau misalnya masalah complex sentences itu ada yang namanya independent clause sama dependent clause kalau misalnya kalian bingung. Nah, kali ini untuk kalian biar dapat yang namanya e-certificate sama materi yang akan dikirim ke email, nanti prosesnya kurang lebih maksimal akan dikirim ke email aktif kalian itu hari Selasa. Jadi pastikan kalian ketika mengisi nama lengkap kalian dan email aktif kalian tolong dipastikan benar supaya nanti tidak terjadi kesalahan ketika mengirimkan e-certificate dan materinya ke kalian ya. Jadi caranya gimana? Nah, setelah ini akan ditampilkan oleh tim untuk bisa scan barcode. Atau kalau misalnya kalian bisa kalian kesulitan mengalami untuk scan barcode, kalian bisa akses linknya yang sudah ada di chat box untuk bisa mendapatkan e-certificate dan materi. Jadi nanti kalian akan diarahkan untuk mengisi feedback dulu, kira-kira dari kegiatan kali ini tuh kalian berekspektasi untuk kedepannya mau materi apa lagi nih yang mau dijadikan kelas untuk kalian belajar bareng-bareng kita di EF Talks. Jadi kalian bisa tulis di situ, setelah itu nanti kita akan proses untuk mengirimkan e-certificate dan materi hari ini untuk kalian pelajari lebih lanjut melalui email aktif kalian. Oke? So thank you so much, Mr. Ashley. Okay, anything you want to say to them before we close?
No, thank you so much for attending today. Yeah, hopefully these skills can help you with your writing. If you use these skills in your writing, you will impress your English teacher or impress at other exams as well. Things like IELTS, Cambridge tests like Cambridge C1, Cambridge B2, also writing at your school. If you introduce these concepts into your writing, then yeah, it makes you look more clever, that you know your English better and you impress your teachers. But thank you so much for this morning. We will send out the materials later on, so please take our survey and then you will receive the PDF, and I'll make sure, yes, Katie, it should have been Kate. I got your messages, I apologize. I will change that in the PDF. But for now, I'll pass you back to Farid.
Oke, terima kasih ya sekali lagi untuk kalian semua. Jangan lupa untuk mengisi supaya mendapatkan e-certificate dan materinya. Sampai ketemu lagi di EF Talks tanggal 28. Jadi silahkan daftar, linknya sudah ada di chat box. Nanti kalian tinggal scroll aja di situ. Have a great weekend, jaga kesehatan, dan selamat siang semuanya.
Thank you everyone. Goodbye.